Good morning. This is my second year speaking at the Black Blockchain Summit. It is my privilege and honor to be here. Thank you so much, and thank you all for being here. So I'd like to again introduce myself. I'm the founder and CEO of Bitcoin University. I've been in the Bitcoin space since the spring of 2013, and I started creating Bitcoin University in 2015 with the goal of teaching the world about the future of money. So this is my mission statement. I feel that this is why I'm here. Before Bitcoin, I spent 4 years on Wall Street as a Wall Street banker, and I've been in financial services for about 13 years through education and real-world experiences between Bitcoin, Wall Street, and my college education. So again, thank you for being here. Before I talk to you about Bitcoin or Bitcoin University, I would like to tell you a story. I'm not the greatest storyteller, so please bear with me, but a very wise man once told me that sharing wisdom is a good idea, but sharing it in a story is when greatness appears. So here it goes. It's called Acres of Diamonds. Some of you may have heard this story, some of you may not. I certainly didn't write the story. It's a very old story, but it's very appropriate for what we're going to talk about here today. Acres of Diamonds is the story of an African farmer who heard tales of other farmers who had made millions by discovering diamond mines. Now, these tales so excited this farmer that he could hardly wait to sell his farm to go prospecting for the diamonds in the diamond mines himself. So the farmer quickly sold his farm and spent many, many years, the rest of his life really, wandering the great African continent searching unsuccessfully for these gleaming gems that would make him a wealthy man. Now an old man, beaten and alone after many, many years and depressed, in a fit of despondency, he finally threw himself into a nearby river and drowned. Meanwhile, the man who had purchased his farm many years ago happened to be crossing a small stream on the property one day, when suddenly there was a shining stone light, shining blue light from the stream below. He bent down, picked up the stone. It was a good-sized stone, and admiring it, he brought it home and put it on his fireplace mantle as an interesting curiosity. Several weeks later, a visitor picked up the stone, looked closely at it, held it in his hand, and nearly fainted. He asked the farmer if he knew what he had found. The farmer said no, that he thought it was just a piece of crystal, and the visitor told him he found one of the largest diamonds ever discovered. The farmer had trouble believing that. He told the man that his creek was full of such stones, not all as large as the one on the mantle, but sprinkled generously throughout the creek on his property. The farm the first farmer had sold so that he might find a diamond mine someday turned out to be one of the largest diamond mines in the history of Africa. The first farmer had owned free and clear acres of diamonds, but he sold them for practically nothing in order to look for them elsewhere. So why do I tell you this story? If the first farmer had only taken the time to educate himself as to what diamonds were like, all of his wildest dreams would have come true. In other words, his desire was powerful, so powerful that it ended up costing him his life. The difference was his lack of education that kept him from the success that he sought all his life. His downfall was not being educated enough to reach his goals. He didn't know what wealth looked like, where to find it, or how to protect it, if he had it. He had it all in his hands, on his property, and he didn't even know it. Today, we have these acres of diamonds right here in the palm of your hand, and they are called Bitcoins. And you can hold them right here if you like. Millions of these digital diamonds, these Bitcoins, are available to those who educate themselves. Anyone that I've ever met in the space who has been a big part of Bitcoin has been a big part of financial education. In my 6 years, those who are financially educated tend to own Bitcoins. Those who are not do not own Bitcoins. So it again comes back down to education. So I created Bitcoin University in 2015 with the goal to educate the world in the future of money. Why should you listen to me when it comes to Bitcoin? Well, I was a Wall Street banker from 2008 to 2011, so I've been on both sides of the street, if you will. I left Wall Street because I knew we could do better than the Federal Reserve or negative interest rates. I left Wall Street in 2011 to find a better way forward, and I discovered Bitcoin in 2013 during the fall of Cyprus. I started writing about Bitcoin. As a writer, I've been paid in Bitcoin to write close to 1,000 articles over the years from 2014 to 2017 for some of the top Bitcoin online news sites like Crypto-currencies News, Cointelegraph, Bitcoin.com, and others. I've also been tested and certified as a certified Bitcoin professional or expert since 2015 by the DCC or the Digital Currency Council. As you can see, here's my official badge. I've also been certified as a blockchain expert in 2018 by the Blockchain Council. So many people in the community consider me a Bitcoin expert. So you may have seen a mainstream reporter say, oh, I lived on Bitcoin for a week, or I traveled around the world on Bitcoin. Well, I've walked the walk for much longer than that. What I've discovered over the last 6 years is that I'm not going back to Wall Street. I found a better, more righteous path forward inside of the Bitcoin community. And hopefully you can join me and an estimated over 30 million others around the world and find a better path forward for yourself as well. What is a Bitcoin? Well, let's go over the broad strokes of it. Built for the 21st century, it's basically the first currency in the world built for the 21st century or built to work on your smartphone. It is faster. Many currencies are designed nowadays to move quickly from one machine to another, but this is the first one that confirms in 10 minutes. It can confirm in less than that, depending on your wants and needs. It is built upon an immutable anti-fraud ledger, which we now know as blockchain technology, and this removes debt and fraud from the system, unlike a lot of our economic networks that we use today. It is transparent yet secure. So many people who do not understand Bitcoin think it lacks security or transparency, but it actually offers you both, and it's the first currency of its kind. It can be used by anyone, anywhere in the world, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are no banker's hours. There's no limitations based on your race, creed, whether you're a visitor, your age, your location. If you are in the African bush, you're 50 miles away from the nearest bank, all you have to do is have a $15 flip phone and you can still use Bitcoin. It is actually commonly used in the great continent of Africa. It makes you your own bank. For the first time, you have the opportunity to become your own banking system. And it is now the gold standard for all future economic systems. I would estimate by the year 2025, the United States and the G20 nations will have moved on from fiat currencies, and they've gone to their own versions of Bitcoin. Did you know that some of the world's top corporations are accepting, testing, and using Bitcoin right now as we speak? These include Dish Network, Wikipedia, including WikiLeaks, which is where actually first endorsement. WikiLeaks was releasing too much sacred information, killing too many sacred cows. So PayPal shut down their account, so they started accepting Bitcoin. This would be around 2014, 2013 or so. Earlier. Thank you, Tom. Sorry about that. Dell Computers, PayPal, Microsoft, AT&T just started accepting Bitcoin for payments a couple months ago. So the community is growing quite quickly with some major players. Now, going back to what I was saying before as far as being the standard for future currencies, in 2015, IBM sat down with the Federal Reserve to talk to them about creating their own version of Bitcoin, their own national currency system. In Japan, the great nation of Japan, it is actually legal tender to use Bitcoin. On April 1st, 2017, no April Foolin', officially accepted as a national form of currency in Japan is Bitcoin. So you can pay your taxes, you can pay your light bill with Bitcoin in the nation of Japan. And other nations are following suit. Sweden really doesn't use cash anymore. They generally use plastic for everything. And they say by the end of this decade, they should have their national digital currency set up. Ecuador has a digital cash system. Ukraine says it will create a national digital currency. And Japan says for the 2020 Olympics, which will be held in Japan, they should have J-Coin launched by the summer of 2020. So the point here is the handwriting is on the wall. You will be using a digital currency in the future. The only question is, which one will you choose? a national centralized digital currency like the ones we just went over, or a global decentralized currency like Bitcoin. My recommendation to you is to choose your digital currency wisely, because if you make the wrong choice, you may get a lot more than you bargained for. Now, besides creating the digital currency standard for the next century, Bitcoin has also introduced the world to what is known as blockchain technology, or mainstream people will call it a DLT, or a distributed ledger technology. Blockchains are in effect operating systems that store blocks of information. They can be open and public like Bitcoin, or they can be closed and private like you will see in the banking and the national sector in the years to come. And they act as ledgers for future mainstream economic systems, commercial banking, and government. But between these two inventions, the digital currency of Bitcoin and the underlying blockchain technology, Bitcoin has simply and elegantly changed the world forever. Now, Bitcoin has also changed the future of economics, but the future of investing as well. Here's an example. If you go back to the summer of 2016, Bitcoins were trading for less than $700 at that time. And now 3 years later, they're trading for over $10,000. So they're up almost 2,000% in just the last 3 years. So in other words, if you had invested just $10,000 in Bitcoin 3 years ago, today you have almost $200,000, enough to buy a house in cash. I'd take it. Where do you want to be 3 years from now, economically? I believe that Bitcoin can help take you there. Look at it another way. If you started investing when I got started in the spring of 2013, just $4,500, today you'd have over $1 million US in your account. So things change fast in Bitcoin. I think that's the point. So Bitcoin has three provable use cases. One, I think its primary use in the future is going to be as the investment vehicle. It was designed to be an incredible digital currency, and it is, but I think it's going to be used most as an investment vehicle. Number two, the world's first global, scalable, and decentralized digital currency network. And three, a proven technology platform where you can create blockchains or altcoins or small contracts or decentralized identities. People are storing information on the blockchain. That people are getting married on the blockchain. People in Honduras are putting their title deeds on the blockchain in order to protect them from theft, revisions, those type of things. There's a lot of problems in that part of the world. So you can store things securely on the immutable ledger. And what I've done is I've created Bitcoin University to show you how all of this can work for you. So just search Bitcoin University on your smartphone or any search engine. And I've done the SEO myself. It'll come up first in any search engine result. So just type in Bitcoin University, and it should come up first organically. Bitcoin University has created the ultimate in Bitcoin education and training for 2019 and beyond. So if you need an answer as to why, how, or where to use Bitcoin, you now have the best online resource for all of your Bitcoin needs. So I've created dozens of videos. There's about 70 videos, about 18 hours worth of videos in there, and 5 downloadable ebooks that I've written to help you learn how altcoins work, 30 ways Bitcoin changes the future of money, and how Bitcoin changed the world. Really a get started, quick start guide for using Bitcoin. Here we make Bitcoin videos like watch me do a Bitcoin transaction. A lot of people think you have to be some type of tech genius, have to be particularly smart to do a Bitcoin transaction. That could not be further from the truth. If I can do a Bitcoin transaction, you can too. It's a lot like paying an online bill. So if you use PayPal or eBay, if you can copy and paste, you can do a Bitcoin transaction. So this video is actually very short. It's about 6 minutes. In 3 minutes, it's just explaining what I'm doing while I'm doing it. So you can watch me like sit on my shoulder and watch me do a Bitcoin transaction. It's actually fairly simple. There are just a few key differences. Bitcoin's biggest problem. You may have heard of a bunch of Bitcoin's biggest problems from people who have never owned a Bitcoin, mainly the mainstream or what people like to call the fake news. But I've been in this space for over 6 years. I think I'm a little bit more qualified to explain to you what the biggest problem is. And unfortunately, the biggest problem does affect people who are brand new to Bitcoin, who are just getting started using it. So I suggest you watch this video before you start using Bitcoin. Bitcoin's blockchain technology. Bitcoin changes the world again. So again, Bitcoin is really two inventions, or it's being broken into two inventions. Bitcoin's blockchain technology is really the operating system that Bitcoin works on top of. So I do a deep dive into what a blockchain is, why it works for Bitcoin, how it will be used in the mainstream, how it will not be as successful in the mainstream as people in the mainstream think it will be, and again, how you will be interacting with the blockchain over the next decade, whether you know it or not. Bitcoin taxation, what to expect when the tax man cometh. So if you are entering Bitcoin University, I'm generally marketing it to people in America. There will be a tax obligation if you are buying and using Bitcoins, but not only do I go over the facts and figures, but I actually provide you with links and people who can help you with these tax obligations, people who are certified Bitcoin tax professionals who can assist you with any tax obligations you may incur. Bitcoin versus the US dollar. Would you like a Tesla or a Mercedes? This is a fun video. I love luxury cars. Maybe a lot of you do too. And what I do is basically I compare a Bitcoin to a Tesla Model S and a US dollar to a Mercedes S-Class. The US dollar is the global reserve currency. It's the most powerful paper currency we have in the world. And the Mercedes S-Class is many considered the standard in a luxury car experience. The Tesla is the new way of doing things as far as luxury cars go, and it reminds me a lot of a Bitcoin. So I compare the two cars, and then I can compare the two currencies. And you can see, maybe by watching this video, where the world of money is going here in the 21st century, and which one may be right for you going forward. No cash, no excuse. How to get Bitcoin even if you're broke. This goes back to my getting started back in 2013. When I got started, I was living hand to mouth. I did not have a lot of money to throw into Bitcoin. I had to kind of hustle to get started. So this goes over how people who don't have a lot of money can get started using Bitcoin, even if they don't have a lot of money to throw at the situation. Is Bitcoin money? This is a very important video because a lot of people really in this room, a lot of people, period, don't understand what money is. That's one of the main things I learned by being on Wall Street for 4 years, is that people really don't understand money at all. They think dollars are money. This is not the case. And I go over what money is. I think that's very important for you to understand what money is. I give you links to people who can illustrate this even better than I can, and then break down how Bitcoin falls into this category. So I think this is very important to understand for your economic education as you go forward. And where do I go from here getting started fast with Bitcoin? I create basically a video, quick start guide. So you can travel through the community like an expert and really cut down your learning curve. It took me about 6 months to get comfortable with this technology myself. I don't want you to have to waste your time like that. We've come a long way in the last 6 years. It's a lot easier to use now than when I got started. And if you basically have someone hold your hand who's been in the community for years, it can really just move you along so much faster. So that's what I want. I want people to use it, understand it quickly, and just kind of get rolling with it, not jump into it first, and then have to kind of reverse engineer how to use it. And then if they use it improperly or they lose their Bitcoins, and they blame the technology, not the fact that they didn't do their due diligence, they weren't educated when they came in. So again, what many of the top minds, investors in the world will say is, do not invest in what you don't understand. Whether it's Warren Buffett or Tai Lopez on YouTube, or you name the professional, you should really understand what you're investing in. And I've also created what's known as the Bitcoin University Starter Package. I've written 5 books on the subject of Bitcoin. So how Bitcoin changed the world, again, is basically a quick start guide, walks you through the history of Bitcoin, gives you a bunch of links to really get you started with your first wallet. Bitcoin Encyclopedia takes a lot of the articles I've written over the years and combines them into one volume, kind of a little bit more advanced look at Bitcoin. Invest Like a Pro, it's kind of more of a mentorship type of a pamphlet where I can walk you through and sit kind of down with you like I have with friends and family, and kind of give you some more ideas, again, on taxes and your mindset, what to expect from Bitcoin once you get started. Altcoin Buyer's Guide, if you've heard of Ethereum or Litecoin or XRP, this goes over some of the best altcoins, and 30 ways Bitcoin changes the future of money. So it's more than just an investment, it's more than just a digital currency, much more than that. And I've also created a separate website called bitcoincheatcodes.com, where basically I can kind of condense all of Bitcoin University into a 2-hour one video tutorial. So I can take a Clip Notes version and really condense it down, give you everything that you need, nothing you don't. And maybe you have a little ADHD yourself. Maybe you just want to get going quickly and easily. Maybe this can help you as well. And also you can check out the Bitcoin University app. You can go to Google Play or the App Store, and you can get some free information about Bitcoin there as well. So I created an app for you for your convenience. So in closing, Bitcoin is changing the world of economics, investing, and technology all at the same time. Bitcoin's been around for over 10 years. A lot of people don't know that. So we're going into the second decade of Bitcoin. And I believe that everyone is here on this planet for a reason. And I feel this is why I am here on this planet. I was supposed to go to Wall Street. I was supposed to go to college for economics. And I'm supposed to have been in Bitcoin for 6 years. I'm supposed to create this platform to teach the world about the future of money. So I'm very grateful. When I look at Bitcoin, I look at a 10-year-old child. But this 10-year-old child is the Amadeus Mozart of 10-year-old children, of all the things that it has done and all the things it can produce for all of us, including blockchain technology. In 2017, over 3,000 people worldwide became millionaires just by investing in Bitcoin. So don't walk past your acres of diamonds. Discover how to get your digital diamonds today at Bitcoin University. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you so much for having me here. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer anything about the world of Bitcoin. Yes, sir.
Can you talk about the halving that's forthcoming?
The halvening, yes. Halvening is expected for May 17th of 2020. If you look at the chart of Bitcoin value over the years, after the halvening, Bitcoin value tends to rise considerably. So what a halvening is when the amount, production capacity of Bitcoins is cut in half. So right now we're at 12.5 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. That should go down to 6.25 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. So again, that'll be May of next year. So Bitcoin demand is basically doubling every year. And when you cut supply in half, but you double demand, what's going to happen to the price and value of Bitcoin? So I would hope that you would get involved before then. We also have some great mainstream investors like the Bakkt Corporation, which is Starbucks, Microsoft, and the New York Stock Exchange are creating a Bitcoin exchange that should launch in about 2 weeks. And it's for Bitcoin futures, it's for buying, selling, holding, trading, and you have to buy Bitcoins. So this will not be a dollar-based futures contract system, it will be a Bitcoin-based futures contract system. So this is for institutional investors, accredited investors. They will have to buy Bitcoins in order to enter these contracts. So this should have a tangible effect on the market, and I'm very bullish on the value of Bitcoin in the future. But Bitcoin, again, is a lot more than an investment, but a lot of people get started with an investment. As long as you get started, that's what's important. Yes, sir. Sorry, who wants to get going? Last question, please.
Last question. In your opinion, what's more important for the long-term viability of Bitcoin? As a store of value or ways of buying products on just basis?
Again, I don't think it's going to be used much for buying products. I think the value on that side will be more for storing information. But again, I think it's going to be used more as an investment. And if you compare it to gold, real estate, Forex, I don't think anything's going to be able to touch it as an investment because of its limited supply. There are less than 21 million Bitcoins are going to be available. This is hard-coded into the protocol. This cannot change. And again, demand for Bitcoin is doubling every year. And there's going to be a halvening every 4 years. So the supply will keep reducing, but the demand will keep doubling. So it is literally like buying digital gold. All right. So thank you for your time. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.